Keith, you assert that the battle for fair treatment must begin with our own people for there to be any real progress. Since writing One More River to Cross in '96, how do you find this message resonating?
I think in answering your specific question, it reminds me that I wrote that book 15 years ago. And I'm shocked I'm old enough to say that, but when I wrote that, I was in a different place than where I am today, to be honest. And I think I felt at that time that the biggest concern that faced Black LGBT people and Black gay men in particular was the issue of racism from the white community and homophobia from the Black community. I no longer believe that. I think the biggest challenge that faces us today is our own internalized prejudices. That is, that what we really have to deal with is ourselves. The way that change happens is that we become the change that we seek in the world. And for the Black community, Black LGBT community, and Black gay men in particular, it seems the most important thing that we can do is simply to come out. You know, I think, I've said before, I think the church has been a big burden. I've been disturbed because I think the church is the most homophobic and the most homo-tolerant community in the homo-tolerant part of the Black community at the same time. Homophobic because of the official words that come from the pastors, and homo-tolerant because if you look behind the pastor, the choir members, and everyone else, you see that there are gays and lesbians in the church, and they always have been, and nobody ever asked them to leave. And so we have this disconnect, this don't ask, don't tell policy in the Black church, and I think in the Black community as well. But the way to resolve that is not to point the finger at Pastor X and Pastor Y and say, why aren't you doing something? The way to resolve it is come out and make them do something. They won't change unless they see us. When I say come out, I don't mean that we have to wear a rainbow flag around us. I don't mean that we have to put 10,000 pink triangles on our briefcases or in our cars or anything like that. I just mean simply being open and honest about who we are, living our lives with integrity. It doesn't mean sending out a press release. There's a difference between being out and coming out. It simply means just being out, incorporating your sexual orientation into the rest of your identity in your life the way you would any other aspect of your identity. Not hiding it, and not necessarily showing it off, whatever that means, but just being who you are. Yes, we should vote. Yes, we should be involved in the political process. Yes, we should be agitating at the community level and every level. All those things need to be done. But how can you expect anybody to take you seriously if you're not personally empowered about who you are? Dr. King would always say that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And what he meant by that is that we have to go beyond our own identity politics. Our concerns can't be limited just for people who are exactly like us. Dr. King wasn't only concerned about Black people, he was concerned about all people. And that means that Black LGBT people have to be concerned about people who are beyond ourselves. And I think that's a hard message for some people to swallow because they think, well, we have so many problems, how can we focus on anybody else? Because if you don't focus on all the other problems, if you don't understand that all these things are interconnected, you're never going to be able to solve the problems that we're facing. And that's the big challenge, I think, for all of us, to understand the interconnection and that we are our future is interrelated. The last thing I want to say in answering your question is the importance of overcoming fear with love. And I think that we live in a fear-based society today. From the top of our political structure on down, we are encouraged to live in fear. We're encouraged to be fearful about who we are. We're encouraged to be fearful about politics. You know, somebody, a Nigerian guy, tries to blow up a plane, and everybody's afraid of Nigerians suddenly. But you know, a white guy does blow up a federal building in Oklahoma City, and everybody's not afraid of white guys. But we're taught to be afraid of the other. We're taught to be afraid of difference. We're taught to be afraid of the Mexicans, the immigrants. We're taught to be afraid of the homosexuals because they're going to be a threat to us. They're going to threaten marriage. They're going to threaten military. We're taught to be afraid of immigrants because they're going to take away our jobs. We're taught to be afraid of anybody, and it's based on this scarcity mentality that suggests that there are limited resources in the universe, so we have to be constantly fighting with one another to get our piece of the pie, as opposed to expanding the pie. So I think we should change the whole way we're approaching this, and we should overcome our fear with an abundance mentality instead of the scarcity mentality. And the way to do that is to be powerful. Dare to be powerful and use your power to make a difference.